Hey guys, it's Alvin and Jess, and we are
The Most Potato. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't watched the series yet, we will be talking spoilers, so save this episode and come back after watching.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you guys enjoy the show.
All right, guys, the time is finally here to discuss Avatar: The Last Airbender. Welcome to another episode of the Most Potato podcast.
Woo-hoo.
I'm very excited to talk about this series. Actually, not really.
Oh, wow.
No, I've been looking forward to talking about this because this is a series that has been on the horizon for what felt like an eternity since the announcement of a live-action adaptation yet again. And everyone has just been like scorned and burned and just like completely traumatized from the last live action adaptation that we had.
Did I even finish watching?
No, the first time you tried watching was like a couple years ago, and you were trying to watch it on Netflix, and after not even 10 minutes you turned it off.
I think it was when that whole village moved that pebble, and I was just like, this is not.
That's further into the movie.
earth-bending.
You didn't make it that far.
No, I saw that part. That was early.
It was not that early.
It was like 5 guys. I exaggerate. I said the whole village. But it was like 5 or 4 guys. And then they like did this extra fancy dance. And then a pebble flew into the sky.
Yes.
And then it hit somebody. And I was just like.
That's one of the infamous scenes, yes.
I was like, this is bad.
You're better than me. I went to the theater for this shit.
Oh.
It was 2010. I was finished with high school, and I did a Facebook event group thing. That used to be a thing when social media used to...
Cute.
When social media used to be about socializing through media. I made a Facebook event to invite a couple of friends to go see this movie. We went, and it was like the quietest walk back to Burger King that I've ever had, or McDonald's. It was one of those two. Yeah, it was abysmal. That adaptation will forever go down in history as one of the worst fucking adaptations of anything ever, right?
I probably would have went to see it back then, but I didn't watch.
You didn't watch
Avatar
the original
until,
series, right?
Yeah, I didn't watch the original series until I was like.
What kind
adult.
of childhood did you have? You didn't grow up with Avatar?
I was watching Disney Channel and Disney Channel and then SpongeBob and some more Disney.
I guess. At least you had some sort of a normal childhood.
Yeah.
I guess. But no Avatar? That's wild.
I saw it, but I probably watched a couple episodes, but I never got into it, you know? And
When
I'm kind of glad I didn't because I wouldn't want to wait weekly. I ended up loving it so much.
Oh my God. Waiting weekly was painful.
Yeah.
But it was also like an event. I love watching things weekly, even as an adult now. I think that's my preferred way of watching things. But yeah, when they first dropped like the teaser for the animated series, I was scoffing at it because this was like during my era of discovering anime for the first time, and I'm like, if it's not Dragon Ball Z, then I'm not gonna watch it.
Oh wow, you're one of those.
Yeah, I was edgy as fuck as like a 5th or 6th grader. Come to find out, it was the best fucking series I ever laid my eyes on cable network during that time. Like after the first episode, I was won over, and this adaptation had huge shoes to fill because we already had a failed movie. So I don't know, you could hopefully only go up from there. So if anyone has been living under a rock for like the last 20 years,
Honestly.
let me explain to you the premise of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's in a war-torn world where certain people can bend one of 4 natural elements: water, earth, fire, air.
Long ago, the 4 nations lived together in harmony. Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
No.
You don't want me to... Did you want me to do it in Gran's voice?
Do it in
Gran
Grant's
with the perfect teeth?
Only the Avatar, master of all 4 elements, could stop. We did not need to hear Gran do a monologue in this.
I bursted out laughing. We'll get to that, but I burst out laughing in the live
I
action
did too. I was
series
like,
when that happened.
we literally just got the monologue at the very intro of the episode 1, and then she goes ahead and narrates again.
I was just like,
but she does it
wait.
more wooden.
Yeah, and I was just like, is this supposed to be natural? Because I'm like, this
It was
is
supposed to be
definitely
dialogue. She was talking to Aang when that happened. I'm like, why are you narrating?
Yeah, I was just like, don't do this. Just be like, yeah, all your people died 100 years ago. Here you are.
That was so funny.
Sorry, continue here.
Yes, in case you are unaware of this legendary series, we follow a character named Aang, a 12-year-old boy who is the Avatar, a person who's capable of mastering all 4 elements, who has to bring balance to the world as he fights the tyranny of the Fire Nation's war against the world. So basically, he has to fight a super colonial power from them taking over the world. That definitely doesn't sound like America or any other superpower that we're dealing with in real life. So a 12-year-old has to beat this grown-ass man. That's the premise, and that could not be more anime inspired. It's technically not anime, but in my eyes, it's an anime.
It just should have been.
Yeah.
But
The animation was so fucking beautiful. I know I keep going back to talking about the original series, but man, I can't believe that came out. Focus. Must stay focused, brothers.
Focus.
Yes.
So
After a long wait of this series finally coming to fruition, it's been about a week now. I think a lot of people has already watched it, but not a lot of people catch up on this. But we wanted to talk about this, and I want to ask you, Jess, how do you like this show? How did you feel after we binge watched the shit out of this in one weekend?
Well, it ain't no One Piece live action.
One Piece is
No,
so good.
I liked it, but I didn't like it. It's just.
Did you like it as much as Cowboy Bebop, or a little less?
Oh wow! Oh, that's a good one.
Because I think that's a good meter. Because you're one of the few people that I know who actually enjoyed the live action Cowboy Bebop, but still had issues.
Like a loser.
I'm not.
Guys.
No, I'm one of the people that I listen. I sat through it. I still have yet to finish the original anime, and I know that's blasphemy.
I know.
People are like probably sending me death threats right now, but I'm telling you, I can't get through the anime no matter how many times I try. I get
always
bored.
Stop at like episode 3 or 4.
Somewhere around that range, and then I just lose interest, and I don't know what it is. It just feels scattered, and it doesn't feel fully focused. And I felt more entertained with the live action, surprisingly.
I think they did really good in that live action. I really do, and I wish that it got to season 2. And then they canceled it. Like they could have been like,
well, it would have wrapped up in season 2. There's only so much story in that one anime.
True. And they did a lot in the first season. I thought it had potential, and I am disappointed. And it made me want to go back and watch, the original anime. But I guess, let me see. Oh, that's hard.
I think you might have liked it a little less.
The Cowboy?
Yeah, I think you might have liked Avatar a little less than Cowboy.
I think so. The story was fun. It was a lot more fun in Cowboy Bebop for me, and I think that like with Avatar, it was just it was flat in some places. It felt very scripted, and I don't know if it was like the actors. Like these are a lot of new actors, I think.
And it's a lot of young ones.
And
a lot of kids.
There was like something about it that just felt kind of like, I don't know, watching a Nickelodeon show like Henry Danger or something like that, like some Henry Danger type of shit, which wasn't like a bad show either. But I just felt like it wasn't giving. Like maybe Uncle Iroh was the only one that was kind of giving, and like maybe a few other characters where they felt like they were acting.
Yeah,
but everything else didn't feel like that, and I also didn't like how clean everything looked. It didn't seem like, I want you to make me feel like it's real. I know it's not real. It's a made up world, made up character. Everything's made up, but I want to feel like it could be real, and it just didn't feel like that. I think they did a good job, for what they have, for it being Netflix.
Yeah.
They definitely did a good job, and compared to the 10 minutes of the movie that I had to watch, it was fun. I laughed a lot. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't laughing at it. There were some parts I was
there was actually genuinely funny moments.
Yeah, there were genuine moments where I was just like, "Oh, this is funny. This is good." But, is it renewed for?
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. I have no idea. Could go either way.
Would hope that it is, and it's not cut short like Cowboy Bebop was. And hopefully they're taking notes as much as like they possibly can. All the critiques and stuff. But I think they have potential to make it a little bit better. And I would love to see like Toph too. Like
she has to show up in the next season. She has
to show up. So I mean, like that would be the big selling point for season 2 anyway. Like they'd be like, we have to do season 2 because Toph is gonna whoop everybody's ass. So I'm like, who would they get for that?
Right.
What about you?
I pretty much echo all the same sentiments you have. I didn't love this series. I just like it. I just think it's okay. It's not bad. There's bad parts, and there's like a couple of really bad parts. But with the sum of its parts, it just comes to like an okay series to me.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see like the reactions online, just like all across the board. You get people all the way to like the extremes of like really hating on it and shitting on it.
Oh God.
There's people that genuinely really love it, and then there's a lot of people that are just like in the middle with like mixed feelings about it. So I think overall it's like an evenly mixed series. There's like just enough good stuff that kept me watching and kept me wanting to click the next episode, because like you said, it is entertaining for the most part. Like whether you're a hardcore Avatar fan or not, I think there's enough to latch onto, because there's some character work here that's actually interesting and really good and fun to watch. Particularly with Zuko and Iroh, I think they were the standouts for me.
Yeah, no, they definitely
They were much stronger than the Team Avatar chemistry that was going on there. I had flaws with that one, which we'll get into later. And yeah, same issues with you about the world feeling not lived in. Like the costumes look great. The problem is they look like they just came fresh out of a package in Amazon, and they just put on their coats in the middle of like this wintry place. Or if you go to Ba Sing Se, nothing really looks physically there. Like the 3D models of the city look great, but it doesn't look like there's actual like texture that I could like feel when I look at it. So, and I guess that's like the limitations, like even with streaming, no matter how much money you give them, it's hard to fully realize a world like that if you're not like on location and playing with lightings and stuff.
It was
if you just
so
heavily,
much money.
if you heavily rely on CGI without cleaning it up with some other aspects, it just looks really like sanitized and not fully lived in. Like Aang never once gets dirty or even wet. Like he never looks wet whenever there's like water bending going. Even Katara.
Yeah, they get like soaked with water.
But then the next scene they forget that she's wet.
And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So there was like some issues with that there. And then my main issue is just the dialogue. Like it's a lot of just very wooden writing. And I think with some of like the newer actors, it's a mix of some of the actors are just kids. Like the kid that played Aang, he was literally like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
It's hard to get child actors who sound like the character that they're playing, because you're just starting out in your career. Like how does a 12-year-old get lost in a character? That's kind of rare to find.
Yeah.
But the dialogue really did not help these actors at all. Like they really had to like put in the work to make these lines believable. So I think the writing of the dialogue was my main issue. And then I think also just cutting and reshaping like the plot lines, I felt like that kind of took away from the drama and the build-up and like the relationships that these characters have, like how they build up and then they fall apart, like sections with Jet. I feel like that was highly underutilized. And that part, I think that plot comes up in like season 2 in the original series. And you take time in that episode to really build up a friendship with this character before they find out like, oh, like this guy is bad news.
Yeah.
Like we just miss a lot of these subplots that have so much weight and depth to them. And this series just felt like a speed run of a really amazing series. I kind of wish that they had more episodes. I think the 8-episode run was still kind of too tight, even though they had 45 minutes to an hour length. Like it's just still not enough time to let the characters and the world breathe. And I will say the bending, for the most part, actually looked pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of good choreographed fights.
Yeah.
Like, there was really good ones. Some not so good, but for the most part, they actually looked good. There was, like, impact. Again, there wasn't, like, a breakdance scene to move one pebble. That was great. So, yeah, overall, I liked the series. I thought it was a fun time to watch, but there was, like, some pretty heavy issues with it. But I don't think it's anything that like shoots this series dead in the water. I think it's just up to Netflix to decide if they want to continue it or not. But I feel like they could continue with a season 2 and just make improvements, continue what works, and then work on the stuff that didn't work. Like just clean up the writing better.
Yeah.
And then just
swap Jet and Sokka.
The actors.
Yeah. Jet would make a nice Sokka.
God, they should have got freaking DeFaro, the guy that from the actor from Reservation Dogs, the kid that plays Bear.
Oh, Bear.
That was Sokka to me. Every time I watch an episode of Reservation Dogs, I'm like, that is Sokka.
That's cute.
That is Sokka.
That'd be really cute. Yeah, because wasn't Gran from? She was actually in Res Dogs.
Yeah.
She played a Gran.
Yes. Yeah, so that's basically how I feel about the series. Same as you. It was an enjoyable time. Not great, but also not bad. It's just okay. It's very middle of the road. Mm-hmm. And I think the first episode kind of sets the tone for what we're going to get, because there was good stuff in the first episode, but there was also like a lot of weaknesses with how characters talk to each other.
Yeah.
That was like my biggest. And then just, I hate the amount of, I'm sorry,
He's so worked up.
I just spazzed out because this show did not need the repetition of the same exposition. Like, we know what the main problem is. We know that Aang needs to be the Avatar, needs to master all the elements. We know that he missed out on the last 100 years, and he feels guilty about it. But they just keep hammering it over your freaking head like we're stupid.
Yeah, I got so annoyed to the point where I'm just like defending. I'm just like, leave that baby alone. Like, it's not his fault. He was in the ice cube or something like that. Like, leave him alone. It was so annoying. Everyone just kept dogging him, and I was just like, I mean, I didn't even like connect with his character enough, or like really care about his character enough that, because his character was pretty flat.
Yeah. He had moments. He acted like a cute kid the way Aang would, but he also didn't have much personality.
Exactly. So like that's why I'm just like,
he's just always down on himself, and I'm like, I get it. You can have moments like that, but every single episode is like, it's my duty. I have to be the Avatar. I ran away from this duty. But I'm like, yes, Aang, I know. Yeah, I know.
You just
But again, not the actor's fault. That's the writing. Yeah. And the actor has no choice but to say the same shit.
And it was just it was really annoying. I think every time it came up, I kind of commented on it. Like, there was a lot of things that came up constantly, and I was always cackling at it, or just cracking at it. But that one was one that annoyed me, because I was just like, does nobody get that this kid was like, he was like trapped in an ice cube or something like that for 100 years, and like, even if that didn't happen, he was still a kid. Right. That still had to master the elements against the Fire fucking Nation.
Right.
So I don't remember, like, in the original, if like that was constantly something that was like pressed and like annoyed. I felt like there was a lot more.
It was at some point, but they did a healthy balance. Yeah. It wasn't constantly hitting you over the head every episode saying like, oh, so you should have been there.
There was more like, I feel like there was still a respect for him, even him being a kid. And they're just like, oh, there was hope that, okay, the Avatar is back. Like, things will get better. Like, they didn't have to just look and be like, oh, yeah, things are never going to get better. They looked at him as hope. And there's some people who were upset, but, like, everybody in this fucking series was just mad and dogging him. And I was just like, can you, like, you guys have no sense. It was so annoying just to hear it over and over and over again. Yeah. And then, like, also Zuko, I have to find the Avatar and restore my honor, and then blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he does say that a lot, but for some reason... He says it a lot
in the original series.
Yeah, in the original series, he says it a lot, but I guess it being animated, it was fine. Like, it's
you buy
different.
Into it.
You buy into it, but then this guy, he's just like, he keeps saying it, I'm just like, yes, we get it, Roundhead, we know. Like, we get it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just, because I think it's because of the condensed episodes. Like, eight episodes, and every single episode, you keep getting the same exposition compared to a 20 episode series where every once in a while you get reminded of these characters' motives.
Yeah.
I think that was the one of the main faults in this series is they keep repeating what we already know since episode 1
like, y'all
for
can't
8 episodes
write
straight.
Else in, y'all can't fill in the blanks or some ad lib something. You know, it that kind of, I think that was like something I was just like, oh, the dialogue, like the writing's just, they didn't try to add anything extra, and it's just like, I feel like there's yes, you have a whole series, you have a whole original series with a whole dialogue, but I don't expect you to do that dialogue word for word.
Yeah,
you have to
make it your own.
Make it your own,
because you're adapting. You're not recreating it one for one.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
let them talk like real people.
Fluff it with something good like that, so that way it doesn't feel like repetitive and like kind of stale, and it's just like, why did you guys bother making this? just to say the same thing over and over again. It doesn't really work.
And it's it's ironic to see this result because I didn't read the full interviews with the showrunners, but they mentioned a comment about like, oh yeah, we wanted to appeal to the Game of Thrones fans.
What?
Yeah, and my initial reaction was, people that I know who love Game of Thrones grew up on Avatar. They love both of the franchises equally. They're just two totally different things, doing totally different things. What do you mean by that? Like, am I going to see Katara titties on Sokka while they do exposition?
Oh, God.
Do sexposition?
Okay.
Like, is that what you're talking about? Is Aang going to be ripping fools, like, left and right? Is he going to be Brienne of Tarth, just, like, slicing people up? I don't get it. What do you mean by that comment? Because I not once did I see any sort of inkling of Game of Thrones. Like, I don't know. There's CGI creatures. Sure, I guess.
So they
but that's not
wanted
Game of Thrones
it
specific.
to be, like, the Game of Thrones, like
they just said they wanted to appeal to the Game of Thrones fans, which I don't know if they went into detail. Again, I only like saw like a headline.
Okay.
I didn't actually read the full article because I was just like, all right, I already don't want to read
Either
this.
way, those are the last two things I would like
compare them to.
Yeah,
just like
what? I probably wouldn't have read that either. I would just be like, y'all stupid, and kept scrolling.
Katara just drowns the whole Northern Water Tribe. She becomes Daenerys, the mad woman.
She's like, you killed Jet. I'm sad.
Mi Sunday, no. Yeah, so no Game of Thrones references that I could think of or connections, but I mean, again, it wasn't a terrible show. I enjoyed it for the most part. I just feel like they were trying too hard to follow it kind of beat for beat while doing their own thing, but not fully fleshing out everything. Yeah, Aang was just like not fully realized to me. There was moments where that he felt like Aang, but a lot of times he's just too down on himself. He's just repeating the same exposition, and he was one of the least interesting characters.
Yeah.
So, and that's disappointing. And then Katara follows right behind him, like as one of the least interesting characters. They had no idea what to do with her.
I mean, the trio was pretty flat. Like,
yeah, for the because I think for the main trio, I think Sokka was the most interesting because one, he's the stronger actor out of the three.
He's got a funny looking face too.
And he was actually fairly entertaining. Like whatever dialogue he had, he made it work to his advantage. Like he was a humorous guy.
Yeah.
But there also wasn't much growth to any of these characters. They just sort of like start getting better for just no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because the plot says so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I didn't like Katara. Again, not blaming the actress. She wasn't very good, but she also didn't have good material to work with. The blueprint was right there. Katara is a very interesting character in the original series.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of flaws that she needs to work through, and she's headstrong, and she's got all this ambition, and I didn't sense none of that in Katara.
Yeah, she just felt, I don't know, she was just like, she was also kind of down on herself too.
Yeah.
And they had this whole PTSD thing where, you know,
which I liked.
It was okay. I felt like they weren't really doing enough with it.
Yeah.
Where like it would flash back to her, you know, basically seeing her mom killed by one of the Fire Nation soldiers. Mm-hmm. And like it kept flashing and it kept being like, oh, this is why I'm not able to waterbend, or this is I have to get past this.
Yeah.
And then I forget that episode where they get trapped in the
spirit world.
In the spirit world. And she has to like basically relive that whole thing. Accept it and all this stuff like that. I was just like, okay, I guess. I felt like if that would have came up like maybe the second time, but it came up like maybe the fourth or fifth time on their journey, it would have had like more impact, because it's just like, okay, she has something going on. We know she witnessed like her mom being killed, and you know that was a really just bad time for her, and that's stunting her ability to waterbend.
Yeah.
Then that could happen, and then she could get better, and she could maybe, I don't know, teach Aang how to waterbend too, because
not once does this man touch water.
Not once. All he does is be like, oh, look, Katara, you're getting better. Oh, wow, Katara, is that a new move? Oh, look at that. Katara's getting good. And I'm just like, well, what about you, sir?
She has a whole scroll that she's learning from, and not once does he push water with her. I'm like, you literally mentioned that he needs to start waterbending and start learning the other elements. Not once in this season does this boy splash any type of water. I'm like, what sense does this make? He's supposed to catch up in next season to do water and earth.
And that's what I can't understand, because then like when they get to the Northern Water Tribe everybody's just like, we thought you could do at least water by now. And then the elders or whatever they are, they literally just like look at him like, come on, you just, what? And I was just like, they really just walked away from this kid like, what the fuck?
I would too. It's like, damn, like this is the person I'm supposed to depend on.
Is he gonna learn once he gets there? Nothing. He's
Not
just
even
like,
that.
no, he's just like, I think we should listen to these sexist elder people, and women should, just heal people, and men will fight, and yeah, I don't want to lose you, Katara. And I'm just like, are you sure? Because all y'all boring to me. So like y'all be fine losing each other.
Which that was another stupid ironic thing that I noticed too. Okay, so the showrunners wanted to omit Sokka's sexism in his character. Fine, whatever. If you can make character growth without him being sexist, pull it off. Anyway. He was still low-key sexist. He was. They just didn't emphasize it, which I think
they emphasized it with them two women kissing him for no reason.
Yes, but they overemphasize it in the Northern Water Tribe with Master Paku straight up being like, women don't go to war. I'm like, okay, so you brought up the sexism plot there. What's wrong with doing it with Sokka? He grows from that. That's part of his growth as a character.
Yeah.
He becomes very respectful of women and sees them as equals. And then, but you're fine with this old guy being sexist. It's like, what, little boys can't be sexist? A lot of people grow up sexist. And it's like not this terrible thing to do. Like, you show a whole genocide at the beginning of episode 1, but they're just like, oh, but we can't make Sokka sexist.
Well,
that's
just
going
to show a whole genocide. We do that all the time, So it's just like,
I guess that was the Game of Thrones appeal.
Yeah.
Show monks getting killed.
It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. It was just. If they would have probably made him like sexist, even just like a little bit, it probably would have gave more to his character, and maybe it would have gave some dimension to Katara's character as well too.
Because she pushes back on that.
She does, and I feel like she wasn't pushing back on anything really.
No, she was just taking it up until the Master Paku thing, which even then she barely pushed back.
Yeah. Oh wow. I feel like the more we talk about this now, I'm realizing like,
there's major flaws with the Team Avatar team. Like those.
Avatar team.
Yes. Like their characterizations weren't fully fleshed out, and that's also one of my biggest critiques.
Yeah.
But Sokka being the most interesting one, just because I think 1, he's the strongest actor of the 3, and 2, he gets a little more to do, but it's still not nearly as interesting as the original series. And yeah, for some reason, like, women fawn over him, and it's just like, that is very sexist writing, where you have these like strong, capable women doing their duties, and as soon as they see Sokka, they just kiss up on him. Suki,
for no reason.
I don't get why Suki from Kyoshi Village just was horny for him, as if there's no boys around the village.
Exactly.
And then in the Northern Water Tribe, Princess Yue just thirsting for...
She got a fine-ass fiance who she just threw away.
She literally says, oh, he ticks off all the boxes, but, he's no you. Just starts playing She's No You by Jesse McCartney. It just... And I don't get it, because... Yeah. Why? Why are these characters written like that?
I mean, even though, like, the other characters, like the guy that Princess Yue was supposed to like marry or whatever. I'm like,
he wasn't even an asshole.
He wasn't. And even though they were like better looking and their acting was actually like a little bit better than Sokka's, it's just like it really just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm just confused. Every time I was like, okay, great, we're gonna have to see him like kiss her, or like she's gonna be falling. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Why?
It's so hard to buy into romances in a lot of movies and shows. Yeah. When you just completely don't even write the romance, they just say
romance.
Yeah,
that's
just
it.
Kiss. That just pisses me off, because I'm just like, I definitely don't get behind this shit.
Yeah, and I don't care about it. Now I feel like you're wasting my time, my screen time with this bullshit, and it doesn't matter.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's like, fucking Black Widow and Hulk.
Yeah.
What the fuck? what the fuck?
That was a little better written than this, but that was still very thin.
I was taken aback. I was just like, what the? I was like, where the fuck did this come from? Did I miss a movie or something?
We missed like 2 movies, apparently. Yeah, so, the writing of Suki and Princess Yue were not well done at all. I mean, great casting. They got some people that look and play the part well, but in terms of like their actual characterization, they were just very thin and just like
Princess Yue's wig was just disrespectful.
That wig was pretty bad.
I'm like, if we could just if we like Patrick, we just take Bikini Bottom and move it over here.
Stupid.
If you could just take the shit movies Princess Yue
and push them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the hair department there, but
it was so bad. I feel like I made that wig, and I don't know how to make wigs. Like, what the fuck? It was just disrespectful. I can't. Like, everybody else's hair looked normal, well, except for that head ass elder guy from the Northern Water Tribe. His head was just heading.
Yeah, that shit was mutated.
Like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Let's get to Zuko though, because I want to talk about him for a bit. I love sassy Zuko.
He ran.
He ran. If y'all seen the show, then you know the reference we're making. He's more whiny and complainy than in the original series, and I think it's because he doesn't look intimidating in live action. He's got
a round head.
Yeah, his round head makes him very like a very soft feature of his face, and he's just like this small kid who's like, he's brawny, he's got muscle, but he's like very little. He just looks very, very childish, and I'm not trying to be insulting about it because I do like this interpretation of Zuko because it's pretty accurate to the original Zuko. The original Zuko is this complainy bastard who is fixated on restoring his honor, and he's headed down a really dark path. But he's drawn in a way that looks intimidating, especially to these kids that have to deal with him. But this Zuko was so funny, man. And part of it has to do with the delivery from Dallas Liu. I've never seen this actor before, but apparently he's also like an actual real martial artist, so he does his own stunts.
Cool.
So he looked good in the fights.
Yeah.
But man, his deliveries of these lines were so funny, and they were so good. And he's also able to convey like actual genuine, like earnest emotions. Like the scenes with like flashbacks of him consoling Uncle Iroh after the loss of his son.
I teared up. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I teared up.
Those additional scenes that they did, like that scene with the funeral of Uncle Iroh's son, that wasn't in the original series, and that was a beautiful addition.
See, why didn't they do more of that?
They did moments of, there were glimpses of genius in this series, and that was one of them. I love how Zuko just like sits next to his uncle and just sits there after he gives him his words of condolence. And I believed in the relationship between Zuko and Iroh. And Zuko also had a really good moment with Aang in the Blue Spirit episode when Zuko goes and recaptures Aang from General Iroh's grasp.
From Zhao?
From Zhao, yeah. And when those two have their moment together after escaping the fire compound, and they genuinely ask each other questions about, you know, they have a conversation about the brushstrokes, like that also wasn't in the original series.
Yeah.
And Zuko actually answering Aang and talking to each other as just like two people. They're not enemies in that moment. They're just two people kind of getting to know each other and having their own in-yun moment from past lives.
Oh, you just have to rope that in, guys. Check out our last episode on past lives. Yes.
And learn about in-yun. Yeah, no, and that was a genuinely well-written, well-acted scene. That was slightly different from the original series, but it captures the essence of Zuko and his struggle and his strife with knowing that he is capable of good, and he's scared of that because all he knows is the horrific dictatorship of his father. He sees that as love, but he knows that it's not love because he gets that from Iroh. And I think overall the Zuko character was probably the strongest character for me because, again, he was funny, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes very intentional, but he also does encapsulate the essence of Zuko, which is this tortured soul who is just not built for war. They do the scene of him, you know, rebelling against his dad about the war plan. He thinks it's terrible.
It wasn't even a rebellion. He just said, "Dad, you stupid as fuck. You and
why are you wasting these people's lives?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the scene with the Agni Kai against his father, that was also well done. That captures Zuko's resistance to hurting anybody. He has a chance to hurt his father, and he still chooses not to do that.
I was like, damn, you should have done it. Blow that pretty face off.
I will say the scar still doesn't look like a fucking scar. It just looks like a birthmark. Like It's just a minor nitpick, but like, come on, like, just it's okay to make people look like real burn victims. Like, just do it.
Well, maybe they got a healing water tribe or water bender lady, and she's like, "This is the best I can do."
No,
yes.
no. Katara almost did that in the original series. She almost tried to heal Zuko's scar.
And he's like, "No, it makes me sexy." And she's like, "Okay, Zaddy."
No, he's like, I decided to attack the Avatar again. That's literally how it played out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Zuko character I really loved, and then Uncle Iroh as well. I feel like he's, for the most part, they capture Iroh too. He's very wholesome. He's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
My only complaints about him is sometimes he comes off a little too cold and stoic sometimes, which I'm just not used to, because Iroh right off the bat is wholesome. Even when somebody confronts him about the shit that he's done, he just genuinely accepts it, and he's like, I know, I made a mistake. Mm-hmm. Where here, he kind of like, there was like a scene with one of the earthbenders in Omashu, when he gets captured by the guy that looks like a white guy.
Yeah.
I still don't know what his ethnicity is, but he straight up looks like a white guy.
And I was like really offended by this. I was just like, why are there white people here?
Why is there a white looking dude?
Like everybody on my screen who's talking and interacting with the main characters, you better not be white.
Because a lot of the earthbenders here are coded as like South Asian, sort of like Middle Eastern area. And here it's just like this guy that looks white. I'm just like,
I didn't see like any features.
That's just like, are you brown?
Yeah, it's like, where
brown?
Is the brown? You know,
it might
any
be
of the
super
color.
diluted. I don't know.
Super diluted.
Yeah,
well, you better recast him, because I don't want to see him again.
But regardless, there was a scene with Iroh being confronted by that earthbender who is a victim of Uncle Iroh's previous war crimes, because his brother was killed. I think that was also an additional scene that wasn't really in the original series, or they rewrote it. I thought that was actually good too, but I didn't like how Iroh pushed back and was just like, well, we were at war, so we had decisions to make. I feel like the real Iroh would have been like, I know I've wronged you and I'm sorry for that. I feel like sometimes this Iroh didn't do that.
Yeah.
But he gradually became more like that. So that felt fine for me.
Yeah, I guess I could see that too. For me with this Iroh, I felt it was kind of like, he doesn't want to be like, well, I lost something or someone too. Like, I lost a lot too.
Yeah.
I took it as like him saying like, I can either just let you be angry and like take it out on me, or I can just also have something to share too that is sad, but you won't care because he's on the side that's just been hurting everybody, so it wouldn't make a difference. So I guess that's like, with it being a live action and making it seem real, that felt kind of normal to me, and that's kind of what I got from that scene with him.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, there's no point in saying, well, I lost someone too or whatever. Either way, he lost his brother. It doesn't justify it, and what's done is done, and he's hurt and I'm hurt, but he like right now, this guy, I'm his captive, and I'm at his mercy, so whatever he's feeling is valid.
Yeah.
And I still felt like he understood that, or this Iroh understood that.
Yeah, because you see it in his eyes.
Yeah, you could see it. Yeah. And that was like, this Iroh's like, he's like my favorite character in this show.
Yeah, he's
like
one of the strongest ones.
Rank the main characters.
He's one of the most seasoned actors in the show.
Well, yeah, that's probably what it is too and stuff. But then they also had looks good like
writing.
Him.
Yeah,
the writing was good. And he just looks like him.
The costume design was perfect. He looked like a cute Santa Claus.
Exactly. And then June was just like, "You cute." I was like, "Ain't he? He's so cute. Look at Uncle Iroh."
The June character was so pointless in this version.
She was, her and her wig.
She looked good though. She looked good. The costume was good for the most part. The wig is stiff.
She's at a cosplay like an anime convention. I would have been like, oh yes, that is perfect. But I was just like, y'all.
But there was no reason for her to
20
be in
million an episode, or was it overall serious? And y'all couldn't get a nice lace front. Like, I don't know much about wigs and lace fronts, but I know a good one when I see one, and y'all bought that from the Halloween store.
At least the money went to like the CGI creatures, because the creatures like Appa and the spirit creatures and the mole tracker.
Oh yeah,
those actually look really good.
I forgot about the mole tracker episode because that was just
that was like not even 5 minutes of using June and her mole tracker. Yeah, she didn't even sniff out like Katara's necklace or anything. They just randomly found Aang.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
At the fire temple. I was like, okay. And that's part of the problem of the speed run feel of this writing that they're doing. There's just some characters that you could have easily omitted, and you could have made more use of that time in a more valuable way.
And I feel like this happens a lot with series given like 8, I don't know, maybe 10 episodes, is that they pace too slowly.
Yeah.
for more than half of the episodes that they're given, and then they throw everything at us,
to
and it's
100.
just like, I'm like, you can't do all of this in the last episode and a half,
yeah,
or 2 episodes. You can't do all of this. Like, you should have set this up starting way earlier. That would have been fine. Or I don't know, whoever's in charge of handing out episodes, like give them more episodes.
That's my main issue.
I just don't understand. I felt like at the end of this season, I was like, oh, we're at the Water Tribe and everything's happening so fast. And, Sokka's, sucking face with bad wig over there. And Katara's fighting this bald, big-headed old man. And Aang's just like, I don't want to lose anybody. And
I'm going to do this by myself.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, what's going on? Like, don't rush this. I remember vaguely like the original and how that was. I mean, it had like 20-something episodes. But I feel like the last, like, the last battle or fight or whatever, that should have been
a huge build up, and like we should have been in that world, in that situation much longer than the last 2 episodes.
I was just it just happened too fast, and then it was over, and I was just like, okay, are you guys gonna get a season 2 after that? Because it doesn't really feel like it. But
there's a lot more that happens later on in the series, and like, are you gonna speed run through all of that too? Because there's even more pivotal and emotional moments moving forward. Season 1 is just a warm-up in the original series. Like, they get into some really dark shit afterwards.
Yeah.
So, and like, going back to the Northern Water Tribe war, I had a very hard time feeling for, like, the loss of life that was going on. Like, I appreciate that they were depicting it, because, that's what war would look like. There's actually dead bodies around. Nickelodeon couldn't get away with that. But they conveyed it with a lot more breath and emotion and feeling in the animated series without having to show any death at all, because they let us sit with the characters, build up these relationships and these moments, take in the beauty of this fucking culture that we've, like, are realizing, wow, the Water Tribe is still here. We lost the Southern Water Tribe, but we still have strength here in the North. Like, it is a huge pivotal moment for Katara. Like, this is a story of indigenous people too. Like, that is a very powerful moment when you can reconnect with, like, other people of your, like, culture. And I don't feel like we sit in that long enough to start feeling the despair of it once the Fire Nation starts bombarding the whole place.
Yeah.
It just feels like, oh, now we got to get to this point. Oh, now we got to hit this beat. And then now we got to get to this plot as well. And then there's, like, other emotional moments that we miss, like with Zuko as well. There's not enough of the turmoil between Zuko and Iroh. Like, Iroh telling him, like, you need to stop going after the Avatar right now. Like, there's other stuff going on.
That he really was trying to go after Aang, and Aang was like, he gave himself over to, like, what is it, like the moon spirit?
Yes.
Or whichever one, or the water spirit, I think it was.
The water spirit.
And he gave himself over, and then everybody, and Iroh was just like, that's not the Avatar anymore. And then Zuko's just like, I have to restore my honor, and he's right there. And I'm just like, fine, I would have left him, like, go get his ass.
Go fight Godzilla then.
Yes.
Water Godzilla -1.
That was a moment where I'm just like, y'all need to stop repeating this, like, I have to restore my honor, I have to.
Like, why did he say those exact same lines? Like, we know. Why are you saying it again?
Right now. Like, you are all about to die.
Just say, I have to capture the Avatar. That, when you say that line, we know what comes with that. We know what you're saying. We get that you're desperate to go home. But it's like, you might as well just finish it off by saying, I have to capture the Avatar to restore my honor so I can go back home. In the last episode, you might as well have just written it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just, and it undercut a fucking very well written out moment when Zuko beats Zhao in a firefight in the midst of the chaos of the moon spirit being gone, all these people's water bending being gone, and then Aang wrecking shit like a giant water kaiju. Like, in the midst of that, Zuko he resolves his issues with Zhao in a fight, turns his back because he shows mercy because he just can't go through with killing. And then Iroh actually essentially just fire bends the shit out of him because he's over here roasted in the water, which is a drastic change because it's the water spirit that takes him up, that takes Zhao, and then presumably dies. We don't see it, but yeah, then that moment gets undercut because he wants to go capture Aang and has to deliver this monologue again. I'm just like, what is with this writing? I'm so obsessed with, like, exposition dumping every single 5 minutes. Yeah. It ruins those emotional moments that they set up perfectly with these stupid ass lines.
Exactly.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. It's terrible. But but for the most part, I enjoyed the last section of the series, but it just feels too rushed.
I liked the beginning when they. Well, that sounds bad. I was gonna say I like the beginning when they kill all the airbenders.
Damn.
No, guys.
Damn.
No.
Damn.
That's not.
Bye, Monkey Atso. Fuck you.
No. It was just. I feel like the scene was. It was well done.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that, like, just the destruction and the chaos.
Yeah, it sets the tone. Yeah.
Yeah, but then, like you said, like, you know, I didn't really feel much when basically, like, the waterbenders, that resulted for them the same thing.
Yeah.
So many of them dying because, like, after Aang calmed down, I forget why he calmed down, but after he calmed down and, you know, because Princess Yue, she was just like,
she sacrificed herself. Yeah.
Whatever. After that and everything went back to normal, there was just bodies everywhere. Clean looking
dead bodies.
Yes. And it was just like
Game of Thrones.
I didn't really like feel anything or feel connected to these people.
Because we just weren't with them long enough.
Yeah, we weren't. We just showed up and we're just like, we want a waterbend with the boys. And then they were just like, oh my God, like, where's our waterbending? And then everyone's dead.
Yeah.
And then, like, in the beginning, it was just like we saw Aang and basically where he grew up and his friendship with the monks and basically how they came in and they killed everyone, children included, like no one survived.
Yeah.
And it was just like really devastating and sad. And I was just like, thank goodness Aang, I don't know, got frozen in a ball somewhere. Because, you know, I mean, that's how this whole story starts.
Because there's a scene with in the spirit world with Aang and Gyatso. Like, he told them, like, don't feel guilty because if you had stayed alive, you wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, basically.
If you stayed, you would have died along with the rest of us, which is true. There's no way he could have survived unless he ran away in that moment.
Exactly. And then they would have definitely been hunting him. They were still kind of looking for the Avatar all this time.
Yeah.
But like, no one thought it was like some little kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I just thought that part was really well done and it had impact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it made me feel for it. But when everyone basically died in the end here at the Water Tribe, I was just like, okay.
Now
and
what?
they were basically like, okay.
Okay, we win.
Oh, and Avatar Kyoshi.
Oh my God! How did we forget to mention her?
How did you forget to mention her?
I don't know, because I was just so enamored with her. Like, not even in a romantic way. Like, I was just like, I want to be this fucking 9-foot
woman. Yes.
Where's the big woman? Like, damn, she's really like fucking 9 feet tall, just like stomping dudes out.
Yeah.
She really said, Aang, if you don't fucking get your shit together and murder this man. Like, they captured Kyoshi perfect. Like, I want a spin-off series, a mini series of just Avatar Kyoshi up until like her untimely death. Mm-hmm. That would be so cool. I know that there's like a graphic novel out there. I need to read the graphic novels because I hear nothing but good things. And the Avatar Kyoshi one is a favorite for a lot of people. She was so fucking cool in this show, and she doesn't have a big role to play here. She kind of introduces the concept of Aang having to go to shrines in order to connect with previous avatars, which I think is a cool change because in the original series, he could just meditate and he can access the previous avatars. Here, it creates a little more stakes. Mm-hmm. So I do appreciate that. And yeah, they captured her character so well in the Kyoshi episode. Like, when she shows up and takes in the place of Aang, that action was amazing. That was like one of the best bending scenes that I've seen.
Yeah. Like,
seeing her actually be the avatar for a moment, that gave me goosebumps, and I was pumped seeing that shit. She just became John Wick, like, just like fucking murdering people with her bending and her martial arts as well. She was a really cool character, and I love the Kyoshi warriors. I think they encapsulated the warriors.
Yeah.
The makeup is just spot on. It looks gorgeous, and the characters look gorgeous, and their outfits look fucking gorgeous. It's stupid that they didn't have Sokka in the makeup and the outfit to like humble his ass. but
he
because
didn't
they didn't
need
want
to be humble because
he's not sexist.
Yeah, it's like, shut up.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you think of the Kyoshi section?
Everything you just said.
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. No, she was.
I just
really
wanted her to
technical.
show up again and again and just be the main character.
I know, right? I'm just like, we could take care of these water tribe people.
Yeah.
Just bring Kyoshi over here, you know.
She's the coolest avatar because the other previous avatars look kind of goofy. Like Avatar Roku looked like Asian Santa Claus. Like it just looked funny. It looked too much like a costume for cosplay, and not really like, oh, this is my beard, this is my robe.
I don't know. For some reason, they couldn't get the water tribe people's like costume to like look a little bit more
lived in. Like there's not a flake of snow on that fucking coat.
Yeah,
it looks fresh out the freaking store.
I'm like, is there no way to do like a blue, like I don't know, was it animal skin coat without making
there
it
definitely
look
is.
like
It just
faux. I don't know, Forever 21.
It's just like I appreciate the accuracy of the costumes, but don't forget they have to be lived in. There's got to be some folds, some dirt stains,
That's like
something.
The first thing I thought when I saw it. I was just like, wait, I'm like,
yeah,
are you serious with this? Because like the Fire Nation, they have like actual like armor. There isn't like, you know, it's like regular clothing, I guess, kind of. And then what, the Earthbenders? There were like no like Earthbender like soldier looking people that
there were, but we just barely saw them. We didn't spend that much time with them.
Yeah, everything else looked like clean and just like normal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was the only thing was their costumes. Aang's costume wasn't bad. It was really clean. I mean, he was stuck in a.
It was better than that fucking one in the movie. They didn't even bother trying in the movie.
I'm glad I don't remember that.
It looked like a bathrobe.
Oh dear. Yeah, and that poor kid, they basically like bullied the shit out of him into like
that wasn't
never
okay.
acting again. So I'm like, hopefully they don't do that with this kid.
No, I don't think he'll face this kind of backlash because I think again, this show has mostly mixed reviews. It is not being piled on the way that the first Avatar movie was piled on.
Yeah,
because it wasn't bad, and the kid playing Aang wasn't really nearly that bad. He was awkward. He had some stiff moments, but for the most part. I think a lot of people just thought, that's Aang to us for the most part. Could be better, but we'll take him as Aang.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't think any of the actors will get any huge flack, which is good. But people should not be behaving that way, no matter what. Especially I don't care
because it's grown
ass fucking
men that I'm just like okay.
fucking neck beards. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think this is... Because now we're coming off of more live-action adaptations of, animated series and now video games that are actually starting to be good. Like, we're just coming off of One Piece live-action being good. We got live-action Last of Us, which is, like, one of the first video game adaptations to actually be fucking good. Yeah. After a long history of just, like, terrible adaptations.
Shout out to Black Maria.
Yes. What did you think about this Avatar adaptation? Do you think this falls in the category of like a successful live action adaptation? Did it fail, or is it just like something in between for you?
It's definitely something in between. It's just kind of coasting.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not, but it just really doesn't live up to the hype of the original at all whatsoever for me. It's bland. It's I don't know.
Very middle of the road.
It's like we didn't need this. Like, I mean, we probably asked for it, or I don't know who asked for it, but
nobody asked for it. Hollywood was just like, let's do this.
Just do it.
Yeah.
But it just really didn't feel necessary after watching it. I either want to like love it or hate it, but you just made me feel like no thanks. I appreciate it, but
I think that's good because there's too many people today, like fandoms, some critics who just operate in this binary system of like everything has to be terrible or great. It can never just be in between. Like, oh, it was just okay. I liked it, but there's like some stuff that weighs it down for me from being great. There is such a thing as just okay or mediocre. Like, and not everything is just like complete dog shit or complete god tier. And I hate that so many fandoms operate on that sort of thing lately. It's just like there is such a thing as just like being in between something and just like, having mixed feelings about a project. That's been around forever. Like film is subjective. Like whatever you feel, just say it. Like if you can't say it's good, then articulate it. Is it mediocre? Is it just okay? Like it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine that you're not thinking like, oh, I want to either love it or hate it. Because sometimes you don't love something or hate something. You just kind of like it, or you just feel indifferent.
It's like I don't feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed.
I just feel whelmed. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would say I'm like in the world of whelmed. I wouldn't say I'm underwhelmed because I didn't have high expectations for this adaptation. I was looking forward to it. I was excited. But I didn't think it was going to be something like, oh, it's going to be as good as or greater than the original. Just because you can never really recapture that when you're adapting something, whether it's like a book or a comic book or whatever. Like there's a reason why some mediums just like are so long lasting. There's a reason why people talk about this old show from Nickelodeon that's been off the air for like almost 20 years now.
Ooh, I'm old.
Yeah. So I never expected to be as good as or greater than, but I mean, after watching this, yeah, I feel perfectly whelmed. I'm like, okay, it's not what I was hoping for, but it's not something that I would be like, this is terrible. It's like, it's just fine.
It's just fine.
It's just fine.
Yeah. It's
totally fine to watch. If you're somebody that's never watched the original series, I think you can enjoy this. I think for the most part, you can enjoy it. Or you may not like it. Like, you could be either or. And then for hardcore fans, yeah, you're probably most likely going to like the original way more. But you might actually like this, and you're perfectly valid in just feeling like underwhelmed or just straight up not liking it at all.
You can appreciate the attempt, I guess.
Yeah, because there was an effort there. I mean, it was a red flag that the original creators of the original show walked off due to creative differences.
Off because these people said we are not going to teach Aang waterbending. He's not going to know how to bend anything but air.
I don't get that.
And they were just like, but that doesn't make sense. Clearly, he knows to waterbend by the time. They're just like, no, it's not his time yet.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, you know what, we're leaving. Fuck it.
I don't know, because creative differences happen all the time. And it doesn't necessarily guarantee that something's bad, because for all we know, if they had left and this show was great, maybe there was a good reason why they needed to be off. Maybe they were ruining the show.
That's true.
So we're never going to know what this show might have been if they stayed on. It could have been better, or it could have been the same, or it could have been worse.
That'll be funny if season 2 opens with Aang already knowing how to waterbend.
I would not be surprised. That's kind of what I'm worried about.
I'm gonna be like, wait, what the fuck? Why didn't you just show us
don't do that shit. Because each element, that Aang learns, he's learning a characteristic that he needs to exhibit as the person that he needs to be. Not just the avatar, but just to embolden him as a protector, as a person. Being able to be creative and fluid like water, he learns to be that way so that he's not so rigid. When he learns earthbending, he learns to be bold and brash.
Like Toph.
Yes, because he has to know when to be assertive. And then with fire, he needs to know when to be aggressive and be on the offensive. So there's each element, he's learning a characteristic that he needs in order to be a fully fleshed out person and protector as well. We missed out on that in this series.
Yeah.
He could have been getting character growth while he's waterbending.
He could have just been getting character.
Some sort of character. But no, we didn't get that. And I wonder if that's probably part of the reason why the original creators left, because there was like aspects that they knew that they wanted in this, and that the other creators were just like, no, we're doing something else.
Like, honestly, they could have pulled out a couple of Zuko's, I need to restore my honor lines, and put in some like Aang growth, sprinkle a little bit of Katara.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I don't know. But for the most part, the series didn't fall apart for me. It came out just fine. I'm curious to see if this gets a season 2. I have a kind of concerning feeling that it might not get a season 2, because I feel like they'd announce it fairly quickly. But then again, they kind of waited for One Piece as well. So I'll be curious to see, because I'm open to a season 2. And I'm hoping that they would improve on a lot of the stuff that didn't work for season 2 and moving forward. But yeah, this is something that I would totally like watch if they did like another season, because I think for the most part it was entertaining to watch. But it's definitely not one of those adaptations where I think, wow, they just nailed it out of the park. But hey, it's come a long way from 2010, whatever that was. And we still get many really bad adaptations. Like, we just fucking had some dog shit Resident Evil adaptations when COVID first hit. And it's just like, come on guys, 2021 and you're still not getting this right. But we're coming off of a slump. This show may not be like a huge hit, but it's a ways off from being like the positive shit that we've been seeing for like the last century of like live action adaptations of beloved works. So I would take this over a failure any day. And with that said, do you want to go into our ratings?
You go first.
I go first?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a decent, warm, just like bland baked potato. It's just fine. I kept saying it was just fine. Baked potato rating is like a C rating. Mm-hmm. So it's just fine. You passed, but just fucking barely.
Like me in my Japanese class.
So it's just fine for me. It's a baked potato. I would recommend people watch it if they've never heard of Avatar. Because if anything, it's just going to make you go look for like more like story. And you're going to go to the original. I feel like rewatching the original, but not really for the right reasons. But it only does good things for you, really.
Yeah.
Even if you're bored with it, I think it's worth checking out. So I think I would give it a decent baked potato.
Yeah, same. I'm giving it a baked potato. My potato's a little hotter than yours because who wants a like bland, warm baked potato? That doesn't make any sense. You know? So
I might have a stomach virus, so I don't know. I gotta eat blands.
Well, cooked. It would be better for the stomach virus, but anywhoodle. Yeah, I would give it a baked potato. I was whelmed. That's
just
whelmed. It wasn't bad. I laughed.
Yeah.
I had fun laughing at things like Sokka's face and Zuko's round head and Azula's cheeky cheeks.
We didn't even get to Azula, but there's nothing worth. Let's not get into it. As you can tell, we don't like Azula.
Yeah, anyways, she's just not really worth talking about.
Yeah.
She kind of just came in out of nowhere. Like, anyways, but I give it a baked potato. And no, I don't even want to say that. I don't think it does have much potential. I think if anything, season 2 will probably be a little bit more of the same for season 1.
Likely, yeah.
I hope that they take some of the critique that they are hearing, not just from within their like offices and writing rooms and stuff like that, but
from the people.
I know like this country doesn't like to listen to its people. A lot of countries don't like to listen to its people, but when it comes to shows and, we need to pass the time in our lives.
Every once in a while, it's okay to listen to us. It's what saved Sonic. Good live action adaptation, but sometimes bullying works.
No, do not promote that, sir, please. No bullying. Bullying is not okay.
We don't accept it.
But yeah, I just felt like I don't think it's going to be anything more than it is. I'm fine with them going ahead with a season 2 because I do want to see Toph still. Like, she's just a gem.
They got to nail Toph.
Yeah. She has to be, like, just at least perfect. Maybe she'll help give the other characters some character development or, better, hopefully, whoever they get. But a baked potato, I think you guys should check this out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to just watch the original, I would say do that then instead of doing this. But sometimes it's good to compare. That's why I watched One Piece live action. Check out that episode that we did too, also, because I just had to see for myself. Like, can I claim something else One Piece? I like to claim anything One Piece, but I think this did an okay job.
Yeah.
I wasn't excited for when I saw the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess anytime I see something that's going to be like a live action adaptation of
you
like
just hold
anime,
your breath.
I'm just like, here we go again. Or I just roll my eyes and I'm like, whatever, maybe I'll check it out if it's something I'm into. But yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. And that's all our thoughts on Avatar, The Last Airbender from Netflix. Let us know if you've seen this show. What are your thoughts? Definitely let us know in the comments. Let us know on the Spotify questions and polls. We're really curious to see what other people think because, I don't know, this is just an okay adaptation. And I feel like there's so many varying opinions, and I love seeing opinions that differ from each other. So definitely let us know what you guys thought. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening from. Make sure to hit some notification bell so that you don't miss out on our episodes. Follow us on our social media. We've got that linked in our description as well. And thank you again so much. Thank you for tuning in. We love you guys so much. And until next time, guys, remember, run away from your duties for 100 years and you'll make friends.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.